Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajwa. If you are new to this place, please consider subscribing. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for your support and welcome back. So I'm here to recommend some amazingly incredible fragrances. These are good smelling fragrances. I get people in real life asking me to recommend fragrances, and these are among some of the top fragrances I do recommend. Not only do they smell amazing, they also give you the performance. They are not shy. They are not obnoxious. They are not super loud. These are incredibly well crafted fragrances. The blends are amazing. The projection and the scent by themselves are incredibly good. And that is why I want to recommend them to you. So let's start off with His Confessions by Lattafa. I remember comparing this one with Arabiyat Poudre by Lattafa, both by Lattafa, and they're supposed to be in the same region as Celine, Black Tie from Celine. And these two fragrances are incredibly good. I'm recommending His Confessions just because I've had a few people giving me some feedback as to the sharpness of the orange and the over powdery nuance of the Arabiyat Poudre. I like it. I don't find anything offensive about it. But if you want a smoother version and more unisex version of Arabiyat Poudre, you might want to go with His Confessions. I love both fragrances, but this one feels a little more smoother. It eliminates the sharpness of the citrus in Arabiyat Poudre. It's not as powdery and as ultra feminine as Arabiyat Poudre. I would still highly recommend Arabiyat Poudre. But if you want something with less sharpness and much more smoother and a sort of better blend from the get-go, you might want to go with His Confessions. Arabiyat Poudre sort of needs a little bit of time to settle, but this from the beginning is so smooth, so well blended, so polished. You're getting the vanilla, but it feels a little less intense when it comes to the vanilla as compared to Arabiyat Poudre, and also a little less powdery, but it's still going to give you that orange powdery vanilla combo with a touch of smokiness. There's this smoky aromatic sort of feel to about this one that is sort of missing in Arabiyat Poudre. I recommend both fragrances, but if you want something more unisex, you might want to go with His Confessions. If you want something a lot more powdery, a lot more feminine leaning, you might want to go with Arabiyat Poudre. And this is going to be the first recommendation. Speaking about Arabiyat Poudre, I'm going to go with Arabiyat Scarlet. This is a new one, but every single person I have watched review this one has said nothing but absolute great things. And yes, this is beautiful. It's known to be inspired by Fetiche La Rose, and that is a fragrance I always say have not smelt. But this on its own is an incredibly well crafted fragrance. You're getting your cherry, your dark cherry with a hint of smokiness, some syrupy, sugary sweetness to it, and then of course the rose, a very dark, dry, wilted sort of rose, giving it a bit of an old school makeup-y vibe at the base too. Aromatic, a little peppery, spicy. This is so good, so well blended. From the beginning, it was like good to go. There's nothing screechy and synthetic about it. It smells incredibly sweet and beautiful and sexy and bold at the same time. It is bold and sultry, but not doing too much, not super loud, not super beastly. And this is Scarlet from Arabiyat, the Lattafa Angham line. Currently, it is my favorite Arabiyat, aside the Poudre. I love Poudre, but this one surpasses it. It gives me, it's a boost, confidence booster. It's sexy and sultry and womanly. It is not juvenile. It is just sexy. That's in a very grown way. So I would highly recommend that you check this one out. If you are been wondering why it is hyped, I don't think it is overhyped. I have hyped it. I don't think it is overhyped in any way. I think it deserves every single hype. And this is Arabiyat Scarlet. 100% yes to X Xandal from FA Paris. This is so good. It doesn't smell like a lot of the vanillas out there. The only thing I could compare this one with is December Vanilla. But even that, I find it as it maturates or as it matures, I find a vast, difference between the two. They sort of remind me of each other, but this one takes on a very beautiful, bold vanilla with the patchouli and that earthy truffle feel, with the cannabis sort of feel. It is so good. This fragrance is so incredibly good. Projection is amazing. Longevity is amazing. I love how it interprets on my skin, on clothes. It lasts forever. There's something about this that is very addictive and seductive and sexy in a very grown and rich way. It feels decadent, but not like there's something quite decadent and sweet and vanillic, but not your foodie vanilla. There's something quite addictive, very, very addictive about this particular fragrance. It smells quite unique, with the cannabis sort of feel, the chocolate truffle. It is a fragrance I would consider as a unique one, although very relatable or something that is not like hard to wear. It is not hard to wear at all. But if you are looking for an incredibly good, long-lasting, unique smell, you might want to go this way. It gives you that truffle, the earthy patchouli vibe, a bit of that cannabis. That cannabis is very noticeable, but the vanilla is so well done. It's unlike a lot of the vanillas that I have come across. I love how this one wears on me. It's so beautiful and unique at the same time. And this is X Xandal. So I remember comparing Nafias Sharq from Khadlaj to Garam, where I mentioned that I have not smelled the original one that is supposed to be inspired by Bashami from Bulgari. But there's something about this that is so addictive. When I compare the two, I like them both. I wouldn't say I would choose one over the other. Both are supposed to be inspirations of Basiami, and I wouldn't be able to tell which one is the most accurate. I love Garam, but I also love Nafias Sharq. This is a more floral, much more floral, version of Garam, in my opinion. It comes across as a little more brush-like. There's something that reminds me of Brush Vanille by Lattafa in a very good way. As you may be aware, I'm not the greatest fan of Brush Vanille, but there's something about that brush accord that I get in Nafias Sharq. But the florals are well made. It comes across as less vanillic as compared to Garam, for example, but there's something so addictive and unique, a little more complex, in my opinion, than Garam. It sort of reminds me of Garam, but I feel this one takes a slightly different direction on its own, and it gives me something more intoxicating, much more floral. It's a floral I love and enjoy. I enjoy the florals here. It feels like white florals with something like a bitter undertone. This is incredibly good. It smells amazing. Longevity is a little of a problem, but I don't mind at all. I can always reapply, and I do reapply, so I don't mind longevity. Although that is the criticism, I would say, or the downside about this. It's gone through aging. I think I'll give you an update. It's incredibly good, smelling, but I'll give you an update on the longevity. It's better now, but it's still not the best as compared to something like Garam. So this to me is a very beautiful fragrance. If you are into white florals and a bit of a brush-like accord and some vanillas, you might want to go with this one, but the vanilla here doesn't interpret as the one I find in Garam, for example. Although I wouldn't say you need both, I feel like this one comes across as a little more complex. There's something about this that comes across as a little more complex and a little more unique smelling than Garam, and I love them both. And I highly recommend that you check this one out. If you don't mind longevity, if you're not, keen on 10 hours, 20 hours plus, you will enjoy it. Another one I'm currently obsessed with is Luminous from Rue Brocca, and this is their interpretation with a twist on the YSL Libre EDP. But this is so beautiful. It has this animalic, leathery sort of quality that I personally pick. It doesn't state in the note structure, but these are qualities I personally pick, and I love a hint of animalic, leathery sort of feel that I get in this one, but it still maintains that DNA of the original EDP, YSL Libre EDP with the orange blossom and the vanilla and the lavender. It still maintains that, but that animalic quality is what separates that DNA from this one. I wouldn't say you need both. I wouldn't necessarily say you need both because it's still going to remind you of the EDP vibe, but there's something a little more sexy, a little more unisex, a little more unisex about this one because of that. Not banyadi, but a little more animalic, slightly, slightly animalic and leathery sort of thing that I pick in this one. And this is luminous from the brand Rue Brocca. So we all know this, I would say this incredibly good one. Everybody thinks and knows it, and it's one of the greatest from Lattafa Angham. Angham, I mean, nothing more to say. If you are familiar with the god of, Berry goddess, which I know we all know by now, this is an incredibly well blended fragrance. You're getting your lavender, your cacao, your spices, your ginger and the vanilla, a very sweet, sugary vanilla, but not sickeningly sweet. I love this one. A good blend. I don't need to talk much about this. So yeah, you can always grab this one. It's an easy reach, an easy blind bag. If Angham is hard to come by wherever you are, you can always replace it with a thinner if that is, readily accessible. Both are incredibly good fragrances, and I'll always recommend this one. Next is a fragrance I fell in love with a decant and had to get myself a full bottle. And this is Art of the Universe by Lattafa. This is so good. It's different, it's a little different from the oranges that I'm used to. I love a good orange scent. One of my favorite combos is an orange vanilla scent. And this one gives me the blood orange. I love me a good blood orange with that bitter undertone. I love that, about oranges. This is a good, representation of that with that aromatic, minty, mentholy, aromatic feel to it. It's all about the orange and the woods. That is basically what you are getting. But it's so dreamy, so beautiful, so bold, spices, aromatic, but also warm at the same time. This is a piece of art. I haven't smelled Blue Talisman before. I'll not be able to compare to the original one, but whatever this one is so good. I compare this one to Taruti, the one from Afnan, and I prefer this one. I get an incredibly intense orange, The mint is also, prominent. I get the woods, the hint of, do I say smokiness? There's something about a lot of masculine saying that pulls. I perceive something like a touch of smokiness, and that is a case of Art of the Universe, but it's not a negative. I wouldn't say it's a negative. It adds to the uniqueness of the fragrance. And this is incredibly long lasting on skin. It smells beautiful. It's a compliment magnet. It's just a beautiful scent that leaves a beautiful scent trail. And this is Art of the Universe by Lattafa. For the past year, I've been talking about liquid brand from FA Paris, but I got to try historic Sahara from Afnan, and to me, I think I enjoyed this one slightly better over liquid brand. I'm still going to recommend liquid brand. It's one of the fragrances I recommend on a daily basis when people ask me, but historic Sahara from Afnan is on a different level. I compared it to my sample of not liquid brand, Altair, and I would say I sort of even enjoyed this one slightly. It was when I got to when I got to research about this, then I got to know it has it's always had orange blossom. The original one, Parfum de Malice Altair, has always had orange blossom, but the orange blossom in this particular one is what's really gave me that, loud impression of orange blossom in Parfum de Malice Altair. I couldn't even get it, as much, but this one gives me that orange blossom a lot more. I get it a lot more. It's a little more sweeter. There's something much more smoother about Afnan's version. I enjoy it so much. This is so premium, so superior, to liquid brand and even the original, in my opinion. I love this one. It's not super, feminine, but I also wouldn't say it's masculine. I think it is perfectly unisex, just like the original one and then the one from FA Paris, for example. But there's something much more addictive, much more sweeter. I get the orange blossom a lot more in this one, and I enjoy it a lot more. And that is Afnan's historic Sahara. I enjoy this one so much. I would highly recommend you check this one out. If you have the original one and even FA Paris version, you might not need this one, but if you're looking to replacing your liquid brand, you might want to look into this one. This is a good replacement for liquid brand, in my opinion. I don't know why this one didn't get a traction that I thought it was going to gain. Whiskey Intense, which is supposed to be a clone of Killian's. I'll find a name and put it, and I'll put it on the screen. But this to me is better than Angel Share. When it comes to the liquor line from Killian, this is so much intoxicating, a little more sexy in a way. I'll just give it, Angel Share. I love Angel Share and the several other dupes that I own, but there's something about Whiskey Intense that I love and enjoy. The apple feels a lot more stronger. It has a sort of big apple feel, just like Angel Share, but it's a little more intense. It doesn't have vanilla as much as the original Angel Share, but it sort of reminds you of that. But this one feels a lot more woody, with the whiskey being a lot more intense, or the booziness being a lot more intense. The apple is delicious. It doesn't come across as big as the one from Angel Share, but there's something very addictive and sexy with the oak barrel sort of, feel the oak, that whiskey aged in oak sort of feel strongly in it. I love this one. It comes across as a little more masculine, but on me, it smells so sexy. I don't have to do much. This one layered with Angel Share, one of the best layering combos I have come across. Both are very loud and sweet and spicy and boozy. And when you mix them together, they are so intoxicating and rich smelling. But on its own, I personally prefer this one to the several other interpretations of Angel Share that I have. And this is Whiskey Intense by Maison Alhambra. Yeah. I think Fragrance World. This is from Fragrance World, Yeah, so Fragrance World. I don't like Yam Pistachio by Kiali. It's never been a favorite. I've never really enjoyed the scent profile. I've come across several DNAs. I think I've done so many comparisons when it comes to the several dupes of Yam Pistachio, and none of them really caught my attention until I got to try Extremely Unique Pista from Fragrance World. This, I wouldn't say it's 100%. This one gives me something more. And I appreciate this one so much better. This is one of those fragrances that anybody who walks into my shop, as soon as they try it, most of them get it, especially the women. But I feel this comes across as much more unisex. There's something quite fresh. It still sort of gives me that yam pistachio DNA, but there's something much more intense about this. I like how that ice cream vanilla vibes, interpret in this one. It's a lot more stronger. It projects a lot more, but there's this fresh, soapy nuance that gives it a masculine feel or a unisex vibe. There's something about it that when men wear this one, it doesn't smell feminine on them at all. It doesn't come across as too ice creamy, pistachio. It's quite fresh and soapy. I like how that soapy nuance comes here as compared to the original, yam pistachio. I have a sample of that, and I've always said it's not been my vibe. But in the case of Extremely Unique Pista, I'll highly recommend this one. If you love the original yam pistachio, I'm sure you enjoy this one a lot better. It's a case of something like Sharq from Le Falcon, which is their interpretation of Devotion. If you love Devotion, you will enjoy Sharq better because of the amped up lemon zesty vibe. And that is how I sort of interpret Extremely Unique. It's like a step above the original one, in my opinion, just my personal experience and opinion. I enjoy this one so much better. It feels a lot more smoother. I get the ice cream vibe a lot more, but there's something fresh and spicy and soapy about this that feels right on men. It doesn't come across as ultra feminine on men as well. No, it works for both sexes. When it's on men, it works, and when it's on women, it works. And that is my experience with Extremely Unique Pista. I will highly recommend that you check this one out. It's so good, and the price is also right. And this is Extremely Unique Pista. I barely see people talking about Soliel, the Ombré Jacques shoes from Fragrance World, but this is so good. It was marketed as an inspiration of Ombré Nomad. It's not. This is so much better, in my opinion. So much better, so much woodier, so much smoother. Not smoother, but there's something much more addictive and better smelling. I like the scent profile of this one than I like the original Ombré Nomad from Tom Ford, from Louis Vuitton. I'll admit that, this is your woods and raspberry and, some moss. It's different. It doesn't smell like a lot of woody fragrances. It's more woody than oud. I don't get anything woody per se. It's more like a concoction of woods with very little sweetness, although it has a note of raspberry. I still get a raspberry, but it's not a very sweetened, jammy or syrupy raspberry. It's there, but what you're getting for the most part is the woods and a little bit of a bitter undertone. There's very little sweetness to it, but it works. Somehow it works. This is so beautiful, so bold, so different. It smells a lot more rich. It smells incredibly rich smelling, good price. I don't know what else to say about this, but if you ever come across Soleil de Ombre Jacques and you want something woody, more for evening, dressy. It gives me more of a dressed up vibe than an everyday casual jeans and t-shirts. No, it gives me something more black tie sort of events. If you wore this one and someone asked you what you were wearing and you told them the price of this one, I don't think they would believe you. It is so good. It wears beautifully, complement magnet, but you need to pull, you need to know how to pull some of these fragrances off, with how you package yourself and the dress and everything. I feel like it screams luxury to me. It's like very luxurious smell. So you might want to check this one out. Soleil de Ombre Jacques from Fragrance World. I'll talk about aromatics, Platine, Blanc, and I think I'm going to add Voux Zingy to it. Both are incredibly, good fragrances. They are supposed to be inspired by Torino 21 from Zejov. I have not smelled the original one, but I think I've done a comparison with M. Michelef's Gin Tonic. They are in the same sort of family. These two fragrances are good. They are spicy, aromatic, freshies, but they both have this warmth about them. There's something warm. Freshies normally do not come across as, warm or create that warmth, ambre sort of feel. But there's something about these two, especially Platine Blanc, from FA Paris, that I love and enjoy. Zingy, Voix Zingy from Paris Corner is incredibly good. They are like great identical smells. I love the aromatic nuance of both fragrances, the freshness, the minty feel, just good, like good stuff. These are good stuff I will always, recommend. If you are into freshies, they are good for all year round, not only for the high heat, all year round. I enjoy them. They work perfectly. There's something quite warm about them that works throughout, the year, not only for high heat, So if you want if you are into freshies or freshies are your main thing, but you want something for year round, you don't want to go to the gourmands and the sugary and the vanillas, you might want to stick with this one. I think this one has a bit of vanilla to it, but very subtle, but that warmth and aromatic and freshness and the lime, lemony, bergamot, citrusy feel that it has makes it super special. And these are Platini, Blanc, and then Voix Zingy from Paris Corner. Maison Alhambra smoked oud and vanilla, and I'm also going to add Arabiyat Hypnotic Oud to it because they smell the same. They smell very identical, and these are incredibly good vanilla scents with the smoky, woody feel. That is essentially what they are, smoked oud and vanilla. That is what you're getting, as the name implies. These are good, heavy vanilla scents with that coffee vibe. This is so sultry, so sexy. It wears better in colder weather. In my experience, I think both work better in colder experience because they are very decadent and deep vanillas that need a bit of airy, colder sort of thing to carry them through. They work in the high heat, but I find, from my experience, I find them working a lot more better in the colder, weather. These are good smelling vanilla, heavy fragrances, and they smell different. They are not your regular everyday vanillas. They are a little more matured, a little less fun. They are not as fun, but they are very addictive and sexy and bold and more like evening wear, evening formal sort of wear. So yeah, smoked oud and vanilla, and then hypnotic oud from Arabiyat. These I would highly recommend. You need to check them out. They are, you don't need both. You can just pick one and be done. If you find one much more cheaper, you might want to go with whichever is cheaper around you. So yeah, Smoke Weed and Vanilla and Hypnotic Oud, I would highly recommend that to check them out. It's not incredibly amazing. They are sexy, they are bold, they are vanilla heavy, they are woods and some earthy, dark sort of tones to them. And these are two I would highly recommend. If you are struggling to choose between Casablanca and Casablanca Extrait, I would say go for the Extrait version. I think they are around the same price, or maybe this one is a little pricier, but it's so much worth it than the original one. I know the original one is a lot of people's faves. We've all recommended and spoken highly about it, but there's something so smooth, so much well blended or better blended about the extrait version. You're still going to get the exact same apple, caramel, vanilla, spice, of the original one. But this one feels a lot more creamy, a lot more well blended, a lot more smoother. I know a lot of people have said Casablanca is a little sharp and piercing. This one eliminates all those, backlashes of the original Casablanca. If you want nothing to sit on to macerate, you might want to go with Casablanca Extrait. It is so good smelling. It sort of gives me a very similar feel to Assassin's Ebha, between Ebha and the original Casablanca. I enjoy and prefer Ebha. But if you go for Casablanca Extrait, you're getting a little more better experience than Egba in a way, to me. So if you are wondering between the Casablanca original and the Extrait, just go straight ahead to Extrait. You might pay a little more, but it's going to be so worth it. Yeah, so that is my take on the Extrait. Is much better blended, a lot more smoother. Yeah, and the compliments keep coming. And so is Junoon Noir from Haramain. This is a very beautiful, kumquat, demure, womanly, sultry, calm, tranquil, beautiful. It's just a beautiful scent, the epitome of beauty and soft and gentle. Vanilla, powderiness, musk, florals, kumquat. It's different. It smells exotic. That is my first brush. That was my first encounter with a heavy kumquat, note, that orangey lemon feel. But there's something about that kumquat that gives it an exotic feel, a different take on the citruses, the orange lemony feel. It's going to remind you of that orange citrus family, but there's something quite special about it, coupled with the powdery, so womanly feel of the vanilla and the powderiness and a little floral and light and airy and fluffy. This is so good. This is so good. If people have been talking about this for years and it's still one of the favorite fragrances people recommend, it's garnered so much accolades and I stand by them, and this is Junoon Noir from Haramain. And the last fragrance on this list is Petra from Lattafa. This is so good. It's like rich people's vacation. It smells like a good, rich, people on vacation, somewhere fancy, somewhere with blue ocean, somewhere with, blue and white. It's very serene and tranquil with the tuberose and the plum. I don't get the booziness as much, maybe a little spice, aromatic at the beginning, but that creamy tuberose and the plum, I get a plum a little, but the tuberose is what I get for the most part, with the powderiness and the coconut is rich and beautiful with the creamy, let's say like a lotion sort of feel, a very beautiful touch to your vacation. It gives me that. I don't think you can wear it on a daily basis, but it screams rich people's vacation with the tuberose. That is the most dominant note I get, with a little bit of spice and the plum. Yeah, this is so beautiful. Petra. It's different. It's not like, probably it's just me, because this is the first time I'm coming across this sort of DNA. So it's quite different to me, but it's so good. It's so beautiful. I would recommend this, if you want something for every day, you might want this one, but it gives me more of a vacation vibe, and that is going to be Petra from Lattafa. And this has some incredibly good stuff. I will recommend this. I'll keep recommending them. There are so many fragrances that I keep recommending, but these ones come at the top of my mind. They are good. They are worth it. They give you compliments. They work, they perform and they last. And these are some of the qualities a lot of people look for when they are looking for fragrances from where, my little experience. So yeah, that is going to be it for today. And I hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and I hope to see you in my next one. Take care. Bye bye.